Alright, so this is going to be a reading for Capricorn. And Capricorn, for the Capricorn that I'm reading for today, it seems like you've been through quite a bit, and you may be very financially secure, or you could just be really focused on your financial security. And so I just see you being very sort of wrapped up in that, very focused on that. That's sort of your thing right now. But that kind of comes at the expense of your self-care and your self-love. And I see you really kind of moving from a place of not really taking care of yourself as much as you could, or loving yourself as much as you could. And I'm seeing that you're getting kind of an inkling that you're exhausted, like you're kind of drained, you're tired, you're burnt out, and you really need to rest in a bigger way than you have been and really prioritize that rest. And you may just be kind of used to chugging along and producing and working and just keeping up with that very hardworking energy. But your inner child is trying to speak to you here and say, hey, I'm feeling really tired, I'm feeling really burnt out. And the oracle cards today are ripeness, totality, and playfulness. So with ripeness and totality, I'm seeing that you've really completed a certain cycle that you've been in of, working on something, pushing yourself to the bone, that's done. And you've kind of pushed yourself to the limit, to the point where the fruit's about to fall off the tree, so to speak, or you've stretched yourself really thin. The oracle card for totality shows 2 or 3 people hanging on to each other, like trapeze artists, and like pulling on each other. And I see that being you, just like stretched really thin. And so Spirit's kind of saying it's time for you to put that energy to rest, of stretching yourself thin, and dive into this energy of playfulness, of happiness. Like, what's going to make you feel not just relaxed, but joyful? What's going to put a smile on your face? What's going to make you laugh? What can you do to really step into your inner child in the sense of relieving some of this burden that you've taken on and allowing yourself to just play and enjoy life? So I'm going to dive into the tarot in a second, Capricorn, but before I do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you'd like to contribute the energy to the reading, you can like and subscribe, and that'll help me manifest messages that resonate more for you. And if you would like a personal reading, I do offer them, so you can email me. My email is down below in the description box. But let's go ahead and get started with the reading, Capricorn. So we kind of established that you've been feeling really tired, really burnt out, and this could have been something that's extended over a long period of time, where maybe it's felt like you haven't really been moving forward, or you feel like you've kind of been somewhat stagnant as you kind of continue with these energies. And there's really been a call for you to kind of heal during this time, to take this time of stillness, to rest and to not work so much. Yeah, it's like something's happening in your life to get you to kind of slow down and give yourself a little bit more love. I see that it doesn't come super intuitively to you. Like, your sort of gut reaction is to just keep going, to just power through. And it comes through almost like an Energizer bunny who has like a lot of anxiety. So if you can think of like an anxious Energizer bunny who not only is like going, 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 but is also like stressed out and feels like they need to keep going and going and going. And I'm seeing that something's coming through to kind of slow you down, or maybe it did come through to kind of slow you down because you just couldn't really continue at that level. You also could have felt during this time like, for whatever reason, you couldn't really be out there in the world, or you kind of had to hold yourself back from starting new things or exploring new things because you just weren't really available for it. I'm seeing you almost kind of like taking your heart and tucking it away. There could be a part of you that's kind of guarded, that is very careful kind of where you put your energy or who you let in. And so I see you kind of holding back from being really open here, and just in general, like not really moving forward in terms of the heart space, maybe because you're more focused on what's going on financially for you or in the work arena. And you could be really taking this time to go within and kind of collect yourself, collect your energy, see what is it that is going to work for me. You could have Pisces in your chart, or there could be a Pisces around you. But I almost see you like taking this pretty intense pause in your life, where it's almost like you disappeared from the action, or you disappeared from society for a little bit. And it could be time for you to kind of pick things back up. It's like suddenly things start moving all over again. And it comes in almost as like advice from above, like get moving, get going. But you could kind of be holding on to this fear of the unknown, not really being sure like what's going to happen next. And it's kind of like something just kicks your butt into gear, and all of a sudden you're going again, you're working again. It could be like this work thing that you've been focused on, some type of project or something kind of calls you out of this period of, sitting and being, and suddenly you kind of jump into action there in pursuit of whatever this is. And then I see you kind of putting a lot of energy in that direction. I do see you, however, like still, even as you're being pushed forward into something, like holding on to some type of disappointment. Like something came to like a crashing halt in your life, something that was giving to you and you were giving to it, you were balancing with it, that came to a sudden halt, and you've kind of been processing it. And I see you kind of in that moon energy processing it now. You could be thinking about it a lot, or you could just get kind of stuck in your head about it. And it's an energy that you end up kind of holding on to quite a bit. You could kind of wonder, like, why does everything have to be so hard? Like, why aren't things working out for me? Maybe, in the past you tried to make something work and it didn't work, and now you get kind of stuck on that. You kind of hold on to that. But it comes through, honestly, as being, like, in your subconscious. Like, you may think day to day, I'm doing fine. I'm getting my stuff done. I'm showing up. It's fine. And really, there's something deeper going on under the surface about an ending or a hardship that you went through that you haven't fully processed and you're not fully looking at. And it really kind of holds you back here in the material world from fully like letting loose. It comes through as something quite painful for you. Some type of connection with someone who maybe felt like your perfect match in some way, or they really matched your energy. It could have been a soul connection, and there comes through as some type of disappointment of like, this really didn't end up the way that I thought it was going to end up. It's a very heavy energy, and I see you really holding on to that. And some of you who are listening may be thinking, no, I'm not holding on to that anymore. And it's not just that you're holding on to that per se. It's that there's a feeling, or there's an experience, or there's a narrative within it that you are holding on to that has to do with how much you struggled when this kind of came down and when you stopped balancing with it. It's not just the connection itself that affected you, but really the aftermath of it, and the feeling of disappointment of like, I really thought this was going somewhere and then it didn't go anywhere. And there's also a feeling of like, you may have thought that this was like the only person you would connect with, especially if you are someone who doesn't connect with people very often, or who kind of holds back from other people. There's this feeling of like this left your life and then things kind of stopped for you for a while. And this could have happened a long time ago for some of you. For others of you, it's a little bit more present, but it's something that kind of spoke to your heart, spoke to your inner child, and so you associate it with like a turning point in your life or like a significant growth period in your life. So either you were young when you experienced this, or it just marks like a before this happened and an after this happened. And it's Spirit's kind of asking me to tell you to allow yourself to rest and to not let it burden you so much, to not like think about it as much. It could have really affected your confidence. And when it comes to like actually opening up to other people or other things in your life, it may be very difficult for you to access that open part of yourself. And this could be why you've kind of turned into focusing on your work or focusing on other things that have ended up tiring you, is because you're actually kind of disconnected from your heart space and from what it is that you want. I could see maybe some of you don't allow yourself to desire certain things because you got so hurt and disappointed. And this burnout that you're feeling, it could be from all the energy that you're putting into your work, but it could also come from this deeper feeling of like being burnt out by connection, or being burnt when you tried to open your heart and getting burned, and getting hurt. Let's take a look at how this has affected your confidence. You kind of tell yourself like, no one's gonna want me, no one's gonna be interested in me, everyone that I move towards is just gonna push me away, something like that. And you kick yourself when you're already down, and you tell yourself it's not gonna work before you've even tried. And it's a very deceptive mentality, this idea of like everyone's gonna leave me, and it comes through like very heavy and jaded. And I think you should take a look at the way that you speak about yourself to yourself, like the way that you view yourself, your self-esteem. There's something there that I think you think is normal, or it's fine to think, and you actually need to be a lot more gentle with yourself, Capricorn. You're being very hard on yourself, and you're telling yourself that no one's really going to be attracted to you, or no one's going to want you, and that's really not true. I see you telling me, well, there was someone I wanted to balance with. I went towards it, and then as soon as I went towards it, I had to back away from it. Like, as soon as it started, it was over. And I see that. I see that that happened, and that was really painful for you. But not every experience is going to be like that. And until you begin to kind of heal that and to look at that, you're not going to be able to feel good or to move on. And I think for some Capricorns listening out there, there could be some resistance to hearing this. And I see that there's a lot about your feelings that you've been avoiding for a while, because you're just like, well, let me just move on the best way I know how, focus on what's right in front of me, focus on my work, focus on practical things. And there's really quite a bit under the surface that you could be purposefully avoiding, because to actually look at that would be painful. It would not be easy. And there's a part of you that really needs to look at that in order to balance out and to feel better, because otherwise you're just going to keep heading with this energy that is going to burn you out even more, not just on a physical level, but on an emotional level. And this is coming up for you in different ways, because it's asking to be looked at, and it's asking for you to take a look at your heart and to kind of do some repair work on your own emotional world. And so if you're a Capricorn who's been avoiding your feelings by focusing on work, this is a sign to maybe loosen up a little bit, and to loosen up your heart space, and to take a little bit more patience with yourself. I see as soon as you go to open up your heart and to open that door and uncover, the layers, and go through what happened here, and why don't you think you're good enough, and why don't you think anyone would be attracted to you, and all that stuff, it goes instantly into this place of the mind, of overthinking, of telling yourself, you're not good enough, of getting wrapped up in that. That's what happens when you start to approach your heart space. And so I want you, your homework, Capricorn, is to don't abandon yourself. You know, when you're in that headspace and you're going through it, don't run away from yourself. You know, sit in the pain, sit in the feelings, feel the disappointment, feel the grief, and let it wash over you, because you're only going to move through those feelings once you actually feel them. And I see you running away from this immense amount of pain and this immense heaviness. And I think you think on some level that it's okay, it's disappearing, but it's not. It's all there under the surface. And as soon as, you know, something does try to open your heart, it all comes to the surface. Like, as soon as you try to show someone who you are, or someone really tries to make a connection with you, all these insecurities come up around not feeling good enough, feeling rejected, feeling unworthy. And so you kind of just run away from those feelings. And it's important here that you value yourself enough to heal that and to move through those emotions and to understand that you are worthy, you know, and you are attractive and you are desirable and you are deserving. And this is kind of the healing process that's going to take a long time. You know, it's not going to be done overnight. It's going to be a journey for sure. Let's get 3 cards of advice from the universe for Capricorn. The love and the desire that you want, it's possible. It's out there, and it's something that you're going to be able to create for yourself. You're going to be able to step into it for yourself, and Spirit really wants to reassure you that that's possible for you, and it's coming. It's going to happen. It's okay, you know? But first, you're going to have to move through some of these deeper energies in your heart so that you can access that. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope that this helps. I hope that it resonates, and I'll see you next time.